brighten up those dark mornings. Wheeler, Ollie, and Lecter. Mornings at the Cabin.
Mornings at the Cabin, indeed. No Ollie, no Lecter. Wheeler and AJ with you on your Monday morning. Lecter is taking a well-deserved morning off after getting a quote-unquote crappy sleep. Oh, get some sleep, you big stupid idiot. Jeez. Ollie's still in isolation, and you know what? Whatever keeps him doing what he's doing, we're all for.
Yeah, true self-isolation.
Absolutely. True self-isolation, because he is not under recommendation to self-isolate anymore. He is just doing it because it's his duty as a citizen to do something.
As a free man.
As a freeman, he can do what he please. So we are, AJ and I will be hanging out with you this morning. Lots to talk about. A buddy of mine actually got a shout out on John Krasinski's Some Good News yesterday. He released episode 2. The first episode had a great response. Basically, he's just sharing good news.
Is he doing like a weekly thing?
I think it seems to be a weekly. It's been about a week since the last one.
Okay.
The thing about the shout out is that a lot of people kind of, I don't want to say ripped it off. I'll let Krasinski say that. He said ripped them off and did some good news stuff. And my buddy who has a show on Easy 103, I believe it's called, in Kelowna.
Okay.
He was doing live videos because he's in isolation at home.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So and Krasinski, first couple of minutes of the new episode is like, a lot of people ripped me off this week. Let's see some of the people that ripped me off this week. And he said he did a frustratingly good job.
Oh, that's a great shout out.
That's a great shout out. And he does. He does do a great job.
And imitation is the sincerest form of flattery.
That's right. And also of plagiarism. It's the sincerest form of plagiarism.
In that case, I was very sincere in high school.
Me too. Oh, I'm really glad I went to high school before the internet became a really popular thing.
Me too.
I got away with a lot and then barely scraped by.
Mornings at the Cabin, the podcast.
Wheeler and AJ with you on your Monday morning. You're in Mornings at the Cabins. Very quiet out there and in here. We're just trying to stay the course.
Yeah,
just
it's a Monday.
Yeah, just trying to keep it light,
Typical Monday during a pandemic.
That's right. It's quiet, and it's like -12. Not so typical news over the weekend, actually. It's been kind of going back and forth over the last few weeks, like, can your pet give you COVID-19? Can they carry it? Blah, blah, blah. And the thought was that, yes, a dog can get it. There's been a couple of positive tests in China.
So we did a pet project, and Michelle actually talked about that.
Yes.
There was one case in China.
Another
so they were looking into it.
Yeah.
And then they actually determined that, no, it's not really the case.
Yeah.
But now it seems that they're kind of shifting.
Well, I mean, this is a different thing. So, the dogs can absolutely they can test positive for it. The chances of you getting it from them is just like getting it from a human, right? If that dog had interacted with someone who had it, got pet, it could carry fomites, blah, blah, blah. There you go. It can get it. It doesn't seem very common.
Yeah. But can it go human to dog?
I don't. What?
I think that's what they were looking into.
It must.
Like, if you have COVID, can you give it to a dog? And from what Michelle was telling me, it was that one case in China, but then they couldn't actually substantiate it.
Yeah. So over the weekend, though.
Okay.
In the Bronx, New York is being absolutely savaged by this because, well, first of all, population density. It's the most densely populated city in the country, in the U.S., in North America. And it's getting absolutely just pummeled by
Trump's hometown, might I add. That's where he grew up.
Can we not mention that effing idiot?
Just a fun fact.
Just ever. He's such a moron.
The home of the Statue of Liberty.
Oh, my God. Yes, the home of the Statue of Liberty. Thank you. The French lady in the harbor.
Yes.
Over the weekend, a tiger at the Bronx Zoo tested positive for COVID-19 and what is believed to be the first known infection in an animal in the U.S. or a tiger anywhere. Now, a few other animals got sick. 6 other animals are showing similar symptoms. So they think that maybe these 6 other animals, so 4 tigers, 3 lions, possible for COVID-19. 1 is positive for COVID-19. So
what's Carol Baskin doing about it?
What is Carol Baskin doing about it?
Get off your high horse and get involved, Carol.
Hey there, all you curious cats and kittens, or what? Curious? No, what was it?
I don't know.
Kittens? You cool
cats.
Hey there, all you cool cats and kittens. Yeah. So that's
That's scary.
It's scary. It's scary. Obviously, you and I are not going to come in contact with any tigers. Most people aren't.
Not anytime soon.
This zookeeper was the one who had it and apparently gave it to the tigers. So that's kind of apparently how it went down. Because the zookeeper has tested positive. Because apparently everyone in New York is going to get this. There it is.
That's a shame. Every animal in that zoo has been self-isolating for
ever.
Probably their whole lives.
Yeah, probably their whole lives. Their whole like captive lives. Wonderful stuff. So
other animals, like
well, that's the thing, and we've been talking about the dogs, and we were talking about it in the group chat last night, and we were kind of talking about how we haven't been testing animals, so we don't know how pervasive it is in animals. So if we started testing animals, we might find out that there's thousands and thousands of animals that have it.
And this is where I think in China they started that a little while ago.
Yeah, and it doesn't. Well, I mean, and who knows what's coming out of China, because I mean, the U.S. intelligence community is saying that China fudged their numbers completely. So who knows what's going on in China? But I mean, again, that's U.S. intelligence. They're trying to start some sort of something out of all of this.
I hate the fact that during all this we still have we have no trust.
Secrecy, no trust.
Can we just get over it and worry about the main issue at hand?
I know. This is one of those things that's like you hope changes out of this, is that we all just kind of, maybe we don't need to be in such competition with each other. We could all just work together instead of state secrets and all that stuff. But I mean, China wants their chance at an empire too. Why don't they get a kick at the can?
I guess.
Britain's Rome's had it. Britain's had it. The U.S. has had it.
Australia, we're cool.
Australia's just whatever you guys decide.
Just a bunch of criminals anyways.
That's right. I'll be over here. There's my Australian accent.
It's good. It's good. It's better than the other ones I've heard.
Oh, yeah? You totally can. That's terrible. So what we were talking about is that if we did start to test animals, maybe we would find thousands and thousands of cases. And I said, I really hope they don't do that. Yeah. Obviously, you want to be careful. I mean, if you've been isolating with your dog, like Betty has been inside this entire time, pretty much. Like we take her out back. That's all we can do right now because her legs are still healing. So we can't take her out on big walks.
Sure.
And even even taking her out around the block is a little iffy just because the ground is so uneven and slippery, and I just don't want to risk it. So we're just kind of taking her in the backyard.
Sure.
And she is getting super, super agitated by that. But we'll get there. We'll get there. It's a long process. But so she's been isolated, hasn't touched anybody but us. However, if you took your dog out and they got pet by somebody who had it, maybe they didn't know they had it, your dog could get it, or at least carry fomites on their body.
Or dog to dog.
Or dog to dog.
See, right now,
little dog on dog.
There's no reason we're doing a good job at kind of staying away from everyone. But I still take Dre for a walk.
Oh yeah, of course.
And he just wanders. I see him once every 10 minutes.
That's right.
So if he just came in contact with another dog, came back, boom, now all of a sudden our whole house.
And now we're getting to the point where we have not gotten to that point yet here. I see a lot of people sharing that meme where it's just like, this doesn't mean going over your friend's house, blah, blah, blah. And it doesn't. You're not supposed to go over to a friend's house. We've banned gatherings.
Yeah.
We're not at this point yet. We have not been given the recommendation not to go out and take your dog for a walk. Yeah. Right? We're not there yet.
No.
In New York, it's been there for a while.
And it's different.
Surrounded by everybody. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's absolutely different. I've still seen people hanging out on their porches and things like that. And I'm like, I'm not super cool with that. However, we haven't had a case of community transmission yet, so we're kind of, but we should act as if, right? So if we start doing thousands of tests on dogs and cats, whatever, and we find out that thousands of dogs and cats have it, I'm very afraid because you would have to treat it just like you would treat anything else. Isolate the pet, whatever you can do for a couple of weeks. It would suck for the dog. But what I'm afraid of is that people are going to be like, I can't have this in my house, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to euthanize my dog or just give it up. So if we start testing all these, or letting it go, we start testing these animals, you're going to see just a huge uptick in euthanizations and giving up their dog and giving up their pet. And that it'd be really terrible because, I mean, it's fearful, right? You don't want, but you have to treat it like a human. So if a human came into your house and they live there and they got it, you'd isolate them or you'd just ride it out with them however you could. Same with your pet, right? You would isolate it and, try to take it out, maybe handle it with gloves, handle it with a mask, all that kind of stuff. Stay as you would isolate a human being.
Yeah, and I think, I'm no medical professional. I've been keeping up with my first aid every 5 years.
Fair enough.
But if that was the case and dogs or pets were transmitting this, you would think it would be much worse in Canada. Right? A lot of people have pets. You'd think that would make the spread way, way, way faster. You'd think. So I'd like, based on that logic, I'd like to think that that's just not the case.
I hope not.
But we'll see. I mean, obviously, like I said, I don't think my first aid, it's out of my scope.
Yeah.
So hopefully the real doctors, scientists, researchers can figure this out.
So back to the Tigers and Lions in the Bronx Zoo. We hope, obviously, they recover from this and they don't euthanize them, for goodness sake. And somewhere the Tiger King is saying, he's
rattling those cages.
Let me out of here! Let me out of here!
Save the Tigers!
Mornings at the Cabin, the podcast, where we cut out all the great music and you're left with the rest.
The 5th case of COVID-19 has been confirmed here in the NWT. A traveler returning from Latin America on March 23rd came in and self-isolated and felt symptoms and are still continuing to isolate and are recovering at home. So, once again, I know that every time a case happens, we're all going to have a minor freak out, but we shouldn't, because It turns out that these people are doing everything that they're supposed to be doing. The person that did go to a small community is recovering in hospital. That one getting a little bit more traction when it comes to being like, what the, kind of the freak out. And I can understand that we're supposed to isolate in a bigger community and then went home instead.
But I can understand the confusion.
Did
it
isolate
was the day after.
Did isolate after they got home and then felt everything. So,
And there was some, I can understand the confusion. It came out the Saturday was the notice.
Yeah.
If you're driving back, which I think is the case, they were driving, no? There's a good chance you're just not going to know what's going on. So
it could be.
That could have been the case. I'm not saying it is, but it could have been the case.
And it's really easy to jump on something like that when somebody messes up, because obviously there are lives at stake at this point.
For sure.
So I can understand that. But what we need to do, constantly remember, posted about this yesterday. If you see someone in your friend group or your Facebook feed or whatever asking for people to be identified who have tested positive or whatever, tell them to cut it the F out. Just stop. Because if we create a situation in which somebody doesn't want to come forward, we make it so uncomfortable for somebody that they do not want to come forward, that's when we're hooped. Right now, we know where the virus is, right? It's isolated, or people are isolating. We kind of know where it is. If we get into community transmission, it's going to be in front of us and behind us and all around us, and we won't know what the hell's going on. And
until someone's hospitalized.
Exactly, and that's what's going on in so many different places right now, and we can't have it here. We just can't. So I understand the anger, the frustration, the fear, especially going into a small community that doesn't have the medical resources that we have here. We just gotta believe. We gotta believe, and we gotta listen to the experts. That's all.
Yeah,
that's it.
Go through the proper channels.
Exactly.
That's all it is.
Simple. Quit asking for people to be identified. We understand that you're afraid. Stop it. It's not going to help anything.
It shouldn't affect what you're doing.
And honestly, when people are like, "I have a right to know," it's like, no. You don't actually have a right to know at all.
Stay in your house. You'll be just fine.
Exactly. If you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing, which is self-isolating and not interacting with people, then it's not for you to know who that is.
Yep.
Let the public health office do their job, do the investigations. If you have come into contact with this person, they will get in contact with you. And we are assuming that everybody who has been in contact or anybody who has tested positive is being 100% completely honest right now. Because, if you're not, and they find out you're not, then you're going to face some fines, possibly some jail time.
Yeah, and that's all you can do.
Yeah.
You just have to trust that people are doing the right thing. And I think
that's
for the
hard
part.
Isn't that that's the hardest part? It's trying
absolutely.
To trust other people. I know what I would do.
Yeah.
I can't. It's hard to trust other people.
Totally, yeah. You never know what people are gonna do.
This is one of those situations where we literally have no choice.
No.
But to trust other people.
Yeah,
this is where this is our opportunity. This is where we get to shine a little bit. This is a real opportunity to get to shine and actually trust in people and be trustworthy and all of these things. So
what an opportunity!
What an opportunity for all of us. All it took was a pandemic for us all to realize, hey, our lives are literally in the hands of other people constantly. So maybe we should start treating each other with a little bit more meaning.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Also, this 5th case was once again a traveler.
Yes.
Right. So
coming from
it's
Latin.
all the same. It's the same trending, which is okay.
Yeah.
As long as we know they were traveling, they isolated.
Yep.
It really makes no difference with a 5th case or a 4th case because it's the same situation.
No.
So we're okay. It's not. Once it becomes in the community, once again, it's still manageable, but just becomes a different beast.
Yeah.
And right now we it's not the case. So
stay vigilant. Stay within solidarity and whatnot. We don't want us to turn into Halifax or other places. Halifax issue dozens of tickets over the weekend for people who are not isolating and who are not physical distancing. We don't want to get there because this is what people have been talking about and been afraid of. It's like, oh, they're going to take our rights and the police are going to be, they're going to be out in force. It's like, yeah, if they have to tell you to get in your house and start in physical distance, then you've already failed.
Yeah, if it gets to that point, you messed up.
Yeah, exactly. It's not anyone trying to take away your rights. And remember, you being asked to stay in your house to protect those around you is not your rights being taken away. That's all.
Yeah, but I've been waiting a long time to go to the bar, man. Worked hard all year. Just want to go to the bar.
Worked hard all year. Oh God, then you must be entitled to everything. Here's a great idea. If you are that person that AJ just impersonated, I don't know who you are. Here's a fun project for you. Create a bar in your house and you know what you could do? Have a Zoom meeting with your buddies, all your drinking buddies. Start a little bar in your house. Shake up some drinks, pour a few beers, and just have a chat that way. It's actually been really great. I've been doing that with a few friends lately as well, playing games or just kind of chatting, and it's a great way to catch up. Is it the best? No. I mean, it'd be great to have it, be at a bar with your buddies. But
we had a beverage game tournament on the weekend online over Zoom.
Plenty of things you can do online for now. We know it's hard. We know it's frustrating. We know it's boring AF at times. But this is what we got to do. This all we're being asked to do is be mindful, be safe, and stay in our homes.
And stay diligent.
Previous generations have been asked to do so much more. And we're being asked to stay on our couch, watch a little Netflix.
I've been waiting for this day.
And run up that internet bill.
The Mornings at the Cabin podcast was recorded before a sort of live, thankfully not in the studio, audience.
Ollie Williams on the line, deep from the recess of the Amber Mountains, in his isolation chamber, which he believes gives him sexual powers. Ollie, good morning.
What?
What?
That's what you were just telling us.
Yeah, that was just off air. You were just telling us about how this is recharging everything. Don't worry about it. I made that up. Ollie didn't say any of that. But we did want to get Ollie in this morning, just, for a little effervescence in this morning. Not to put too much pressure on you, Ollie, but you are the calming voice of the entire territory and add some much-needed spunk to all the proceedings.
Yes. Morning, everybody. Let me search for that effervescence.
There it is.
Oh, yeah, over in the corner over there.
Yeah, good.
Yes. Morning, everybody. Yes, here I am, still lying in bed and just, doing news. It's great.
Absolutely. And you're doing a bang-up job, my friend. Obviously, last night after, I think we got, I missed COVID Corner last night, but the fifth case got confirmed after COVID Corner. Am I right?
Yeah, never mind the fifth case. I got to go for a walk yesterday. It was fantastic.
You left the house?
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, wow.
Did you get sunburnt instantly?
Yeah, no doubt. What caused that? Yeah, I was going to say, it was such a beautiful day yesterday. I mean, was it just so beautiful that you're like, I think I have to leave my quarters?
I went out for about an hour and a half. I just thought to myself, I've been in here for 3 weeks now. I've finally, Friday was my last day of self-isolation.
Yeah.
And on Sunday, I was cleaning everything. I was really enjoying getting the house in order. But then I looked outside and I thought, right, I actually have to go out and spend some time outside. Went for just a stroll around town, obviously stayed well away from anybody else. And got back home and in the evening was like, why do I feel all flushed in the face? And I think I genuinely did get a little sunburn.
That's all it takes.
Yeah, I got a little rouge yesterday too.
You got a little rouge.
A little rougey.
Right on. Yeah, no, it was a beautiful, beautiful weekend. It's one of those weekends. A lot of people were out yesterday. You were out on your machine yesterday, right?
I was out all Saturday.
When are you going to lend us one of those machines? I want to go out.
It's ready to go.
Right on. There you go. Ollie, you've been on a skidoo, right? You know how to drive a skidoo?
Yeah, I have. In Fort Liard, I learned.
Oh, there you go. Can't skate, can drive a skidoo. Pretty good stuff.
Yeah. Anyway, let's bring everybody back down to earth about this fifth case then.
Yes.
So, yeah, we don't know a huge amount. We know that they are a Yellowknife resident. They came back from Latin America.
Which covers a large swath of the earth.
Big patch of land.
Yeah. Yep. On the 23rd, but they isolated as soon as they got back, right? So.
Yep. They were really good about it. They filed their plan ahead of time and everything, so they were on it.
Okay.
They got back. They self-isolated. All of their household self-isolated with them.
Okay.
Very important.
And then about a week after they got back, symptoms started kicking in.
Okay.
And they went and got a test, and we found out that was positive. We were told yesterday evening.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's a fifth case, but the good news in all of this is that all 5 cases are to do with travel.
Yes.
They are directly linked to where people have been. They are not people picking up the virus in the NWT who hadn't been anywhere.
Yeah.
When we get to that point, that elevates everything to a new stage.
It does.
Because then you're dealing with what everybody else is dealing with down south, which is that the virus is just passing from person to person. There is no recorded instance of that happening yet in the NWT. And in all of the cases so far, in not every case were things followed perfectly, but at least in every case, people did self-isolate.
Yes. Yeah. So, with every case, it gets amped up a little bit. But, like you said, the good news is that we're, following protocols. We don't have community transmission just yet. So, we keep on keeping on.
And if people want to look at this optimistically, look at the dates that people came back in these cases. So from the first case to the fifth case, you're dealing with people who, broadly speaking, came back in a week's time span between the 16th and the 23rd of March right now, when people were still coming back from places. Now, the number of people coming back has been decreasing precipitously since the middle of March, because obviously, as things have tightened up, more and more people have made sure they got back, and there are now fewer people to come back from anywhere. So theoretically, the number of people who have newly returned to the Northwest Territories and might have this virus should keep decreasing and decreasing and decreasing. Mm-hmm. Now, you still have supply workers coming in, healthcare workers coming in, people who may feasibly have the virus. The border is not completely closed, but we are certainly going to see very, very few people now coming back from Latin America, or places like that, who might have the virus. So when you look at it like that, you would expect in the next 2 or 3 weeks there to be very, very few cases from travel, because there won't be anybody who's done any travel. So that should slowly come down. Then you start looking at community transmission and having to pay very close attention to that. Now, the good news there is the NWT is on the list to start getting new and much, much quicker tests.
Yes.
That would take less than an hour to turn around. Now, I don't know yet. There's a couple of question marks with that. For example, how many of those tests can we do at once? If we can only turn around one test at a time, then obviously that's only going to be 20 tests a day or so, and that's bad. But I'm sure it'll be better than that. But we don't know the answer. But the fact that we'll be able to turn around a test in less than an hour gives you a much better snapshot to work with. Right now, tests on average take 4 or 5 days to turn around, means that the chief public health officer, all the healthcare staff, are working with a picture that is 4 or 5 days old when they are making decisions about how to contain this virus. Once you start getting to a place where we can turn around tests within the NWT rather than sending them to Alberta, and it's going to take less than an hour at a time, it gives your leaders of this operation a much more up-to-date picture of what is going on. So that'll be good.
Absolutely. And we saw quite a rise in the amount of tests taken in the last couple of weeks, mostly due to people returning from spring break, but also kids returning from uni. That, like you said, that's going to go down as well, because most people are probably back now. Most of the kids are back from uni because obviously they didn't have, they had a reading break and then they didn't have exams. So, you're going to see that. And that's a lot of people were asking about that yesterday. Why are we seeing the amount of tests pending going down? Is that because we're not testing people enough? It's like, well, no, we're only testing people that have exhibited symptoms. Is there any change in that coming? Are we just going to start testing everybody, or are we going to stay with that for now?
I don't know if there's a change coming. It's interesting talking about the number of tests pending and things like that. A lot of it has to do with access to the lab in Alberta and how quickly you can get tests down there by transport. So if you actually look at the number of negative results coming back, that number is all over the place. There is no downward trend on that.
Yeah.
Give you an example. Let's start with April the 1st. We got 67 negatives back. April the 2nd, we got 18. April the 3rd, we got 139. April the 4th, we got 67. April the 5th, we got 51. So that number is not declining gradually. It's all over the place based on how many we got through the lab that day.
Yeah.
So there isn't a suggestion when I look at the numbers in front of me that the number of tests we're doing is going down necessarily. At the moment, like you say, the philosophy of testing is if you have symptoms, and particularly if you have any travel history or you're known to have been exposed to someone who did have COVID-19. We don't have many of those people because everybody's self-isolated, which is good. But beyond that, once they get access to quicker testing, I don't know. It'll be up to the chief public health officer, of course, to decide whether they want to expand the program at that time. We haven't heard anything yet about that.
Okay. Well, I know you will give us, you and the entire news team will give us all the information we need. And, of course, please send them to messages to us or AJ or whoever you want. If you think there's something we need to know, please do. Mailbox at cabinradio.ca. Ollie, while I still have you here, enough about COVID-19. It is so just, I'm over it. We're over it. What are you watching on Netflix right now?
I was outed last night on COVID Corner, actually, because I left it paused in the background. And everybody could see that I was watching. I don't think anybody knew what I was watching, but they could see it. It's a show called Sunderland Till I Die. And Sunderland is a soccer team in the UK, a relatively bad one. And the show is a behind-the-scenes documentary about an entire season with the team. And it follows all the players, the coach, the guy in charge of the, not the owner, but the owner's chief exec that he's installed, and all the fans, and even the kitchen staff at the club. It follows all the way through the season, and it's a grim season. And it's just compelling, car crash television to watch this team doing so badly and see the effect that it has behind the scenes. And there's 2 seasons of it, and I've just finished the first one. And so, I've been absolutely gripped by it. I put it on yesterday morning for the first time, thinking that I was starting to dredge the barrel a little bit on Netflix, just I've seen everything I wanted to see. What else is there? I put this on. It is so much better than I thought it would be. I almost think that Canadians might be able to get into it as well, even though it is a fundamentally boring sport that you all hate.
Whoa. We have our women's soccer team is awesome.
Yeah, they're top 10 in the world.
I didn't say anybody in Canada was bad at it. I just said that you all hate it.
Hate's a very strong word. Disdain is more appropriate. Actually, that does sound interesting. Most of the time when you see a year coverage of a team, it's usually that they did well. Those are the ones that become more popular.
Those are the bad ones.
Those are the bad ones.
You want to see the worst season you've ever seen.
Absolutely. Well, have you downloaded Disney Plus or Crave or anything like that? Have you started a hobby? Do you have another hobby other than what you do?
I haven't. I'm trying to learn the ocarina, but I'm not getting very far.
It takes time.
Well, my 10. I probably have got. Very good. Probably have got 10,000 hours to spare here to become a master at that eventually. So we'll get there. I've got Crave, I got Amazon Prime, and all that sort of stuff. And I watched the Adjustment Bureau at the weekend.
Yes.
Always a fun, lighthearted, look at whether or not you can control your own fate and destiny.
You don't.
It's just what you need to, pick yourself up at this otherwise, distressing time. So,
well, you keep us up to date on everything that's going on. Keep us up to date on what you're watching on Netflix, please. We're all wrapped with attention. All right. Ollie, we'll look forward to another episode of COVID Corner tonight at 7 o'clock, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Sounds good. Enjoy your day.
The Mornings at the Cabin podcast.
Monday morning, not like any other Monday. Monday is just another day, unless you're working from home, then in which case you're probably not up yet.
No.
If you were working from home, if you got to work from home.
Be the number one thing I'd do is sleep in.
Sleep in.
Yeah.
I can't sleep in anymore.
I'd sleep in and do more stuff in the morning.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I'd stretch, maybe have a little workout, have a big breakfast, and then start my day at 9:30, 10.
There you go. That's nice.
That's what I do.
Yeah. And we were talking to Ollie earlier about what he's doing, what he's watching. Obviously, people going through the Netflix queue, going through Crave, going through Amazon Prime Video. Overages were waived last month.
Irrelevant.
And this month.
I'm still getting the emails.
They're probably going to have to look at waiving those for May as well. But we'll remain positive.
Yeah. Are you still getting the emails, the overage emails?
I got one, but it was funny is that I got one and it said, you've gone this much over.
Yeah.
But you're not going to get charged anything. Oh. But some people got the old emails saying you've gone this far over and this summer you're being charged. And of course, people posted that up on Facebook going, what the hell? Blah, blah, blah. Then Northwest Hell had to be like, sorry about that. We sent out the wrong emails.
That's funny.
You're fine. But have you done anything? Have you started anything new? Have you started to learn something new since all of this? I mean, you're kind of still coming into work a bunch. So.
Yeah, that's the thing. As far as my routine goes, there hasn't been a whole lot of change. But when I get home after work, obviously I can't socialize. There's no sports going on. So I do have a little bit more time.
Yeah.
I've just got a plethora of stuff that I've been meaning to do.
Yeah.
I mean, like pick up the guitar and learn a song or, work out a little more or sing, whatever. Like I have a whole thing, like a whole group of things that I need to be doing and I want to be doing. So I've started doing it.
Yeah.
I picked up the guitar. I started learning one song. I've been stretching in preparation for working out because my body's just not prepared for that right now. A few other things.
Yeah, fair enough.
Chores. Yeah. I did a bunch. I swept the whole deck.
Yeah.
And all the way to the backyard to the fire pit yesterday.
Oh, see, I got to do that too. I got to do the deck, but we did the whole house yesterday.
Nice.
So that was something.
Feels good though now, right? Like
I mean,
when you woke up this morning, you're like, this feels great.
This feels great. Yeah. It'll be horrible within a few days. After being an ISO for a week, my days haven't changed much. I'm still going to work every day.
Yeah.
Still coming here every day. So I mean, picking up new stuff is occasionally like I've been looking at like piano tutorials on YouTube and being like, I should really start plunking away at the piano again because we got a keyboard.
Yeah. And
I should pick up the guitar. But then when I get home, I'm exhausted.
Yeah, but if you're working, you're like maybe have an extra hour a day.
Well, maybe, but I mean, like it's not just going into work. Okay, I mean there's people working from home. There's people still going to work, and it's not just the work. It's not just having the regular day.
Mm-hmm.
It's also just all of the kind of anxiousness that you feel. So you're just kind of exhausted all the time. That's exhausted, because you're just like, it's like, what's next? What's
constantly
next? What's
on
coming
your
up?
mind.
So that's why I'm asking people about their hobbies. Like, what are you doing to kind of distract yourself? This is what we've been talking about for 2 or 3 weeks. We're going to be talking about it for a few more weeks now.
Yeah.
What have we been doing? Picking up an instrument.
Yeah.
People putting on burlesque shows. People are performing every day online, which is great. People are still doing that. And I hope we all continue to do that and continue to stay positive.
William Prince being one of them.
William Prince, thank you for bringing it up. I was angling towards that, but I was going to take 15 more minutes to get there. William Prince, who was on our stage at Folk on the Rocks last year, 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
I guess 2 years ago. So not last summer, the summer before.
Yeah.
You've probably heard the story of the hat. It's the only hat that can fit his head. And I feel his pain because the only hats that can fit my head are the ones that we have, which are the stretchy snapbacks. So it's got a flex and it snaps back. These are the only ones that fit my head because I've got a massive cranium. So he bought the hat. It fit him. He wore it everywhere. We saw him in the LA Times wearing the hat. We saw him online wearing the hat. We saw him in the Globe and Mail or something like that wearing the hat. So we're obviously pretty tickled every time we see him in the hat. And he did a live show on his Facebook page yesterday, or 2 days ago. Saturday? I think it was Saturday. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Yesterday.
He talked about the hat. He put the hat on, and he talked about how he lost it and how he got in touch, and we gave him another hat.
Yeah.
He loves our hat,
and
gave us a good shout-out on his live video, which was amazing.
He even pointed out that he didn't realize that we embroidered his initials.
That's right.
We put WP on the back. He's like, I didn't even notice that.
That's right. That's right.
That was cool.
I bet his handler took credit for it.
It was his girlfriend.
Oh, it was his girlfriend?
Yeah.
Is that his manager?
You can call her your handler if you want, but I believe it's a mutual relationship.
Oh, fair enough. As long as it's beneficial.
No, it was his girlfriend that reached out and said, hey, Will lost his hat and he's devastated.
I just said, let's just send him one every 6 months.
Totally,
in case he loses it again, just keep sending him hats.
We load him up. We gave him shirts and stuff, but he just legitimately, I mean, he likes Cabin Radio. He said that we were his favorite radio station. Which was
I love that. Amazing.
But I also he's like, I just like the hat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I could have sent him a plain one with no logo.
Yeah.
He would have been like, yeah, perfect.
Yeah, great hat. Great hat, everybody. Yeah. And another big shout out to a friend of mine, Stephen Kepler in Kelowna. He works for Easy 101.3. I mentioned this earlier in the show, but if you weren't listening, and you've watched Some Good News with John Krasinski on YouTube, he released episode 2 yesterday. Kind of called some people out for ripping him off. Fair enough. And like all in good fun though. He wasn't actually mad. Calling him out for copyright infringement. He called out my buddy Kepler, who's been doing Okanagan Some Good News, and told him that he was doing a frustratingly good job, which is a great shout out So that was very cool. So
Can't get better than that.
In my world,
from
that
Jim,
was really nice. From Jim, from The Office. Yeah. And so Kepler doing a bang up job there in Kelowna. So that was very cool to see. Yeah. And so let's just try to keep it positive. I know we got to talk about negative things here every morning. We're trying to keep it light. We're trying to keep it as entertaining as possible.
There's some cool stuff going on.
Absolutely there is.
Like
Absolutely.
Online is, I love all the videos amazing. And content that's coming out online. It's almost overwhelming. It's too much to keep up with, but it's awesome. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, it is a lot of fun. And this is all we can do is try to stay as positive as possible, try to keep it as light as possible, entertain ourselves. If you have children, I don't know what to tell you. Wow. I mean, pretty glad I don't have kids right now.
I'm not going to say glad. I'm just going to say that I don't have kids.
One day, but this is the perfect time not to have them.
We'll see. After all this and hearing seeing all the posts, I'm like, hey, sure you want to have kids? What if another pandemic happens? And then we got to...
Then you're stuck with them.
Be with them all the time. Another shout out to Jason Melanson, friend of the show. He had some family that did test positive. But they are recovering.
Not in the NWT.
Not in the NWT. In Nova Scotia. Gotcha. They are recovering, so we're glad to hear that. And Jason and to all your family, our thoughts are with you. And glad to hear that they are recovering. That's awesome. So stay safe out there, everybody. Wash your hands. Keep physical distancing. Remember, that means not having people over on your friggin' porch for a couple of convos. I know it's really tough, but let's all do this. April distance, May existence.
Thanks for listening. Check out more from the show at cabinradio.ca and by following the Mornings at the Cabin Facebook page.